So, Ghanaian YouTuber Wode was in South Africa in February as part of his Africa to the World project, where he intends to visit each African country. But he came under a lot of flack from a section of South African youth for daring to speak about the economic and social divide between black and white South Africans. But before we continue, family, kindly subscribe to Africa Lately, a channel dedicated to promoting Africa's integration and for projecting the black personality worldwide. So what did Wode and his fellow YouTuber from Kenya, Miss Trudy, really say to get these people so angry? Did Wode get it all wrong? Was it his aim to, as it were, put down black South Africans? Or are the critics really justified in taunting and chasing him out of their country? The uproar stems from this video right here, titled South Africa, Most Divided Country in Africa. In this video, Wode and Miss Trudy are seen in a Pretoria neighborhood, which they said was populated by only white people. The two went on to talk about how luxury houses were owned by white people, while the blacks were largely relegated to townships like Soweto. They made it clear, though, that it did not mean there were no blacks who lived in luxury homes, that they were few, considering that black people make up majority of South Africa's population. Unfortunately, however, some black South Africans felt very offended that Wode and his girlfriend made those comments. They felt the comments were injurious to their pride and dignity. The comments, they said, were skewed and had slipped into the very negative impression of Africa Wode says he's trying to correct. Nigerian writer Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie called it the danger of a single story in that brilliant TED Talk. Some said Wode was ignorant and needed to educate himself about South African history. Why didn't he talk about similar problems in other countries? Others asked, forgetting, for example, that in that viral video on Sierra Leone, Wode said he was not doing videos about beautiful infrastructure because he felt sad that foreigners had invaded that space. He went on to encourage Sierra Leoneans in the diaspora to return and help rescue their country from the Mzungus, or the Abrofo as the Asantis rightly call them. And the Sierra Leoneans took it in good faith. Still, some South Africans said he should leave their country, and leave he did to Eswatini and thence to Mozambique, as we know. But the good thing is that there were a good number of South Africans who agreed with Wode and saw his comments not as an attempt to humiliate them, but to solidarize with their struggle to correct the imbalances the evil system of apartheid has left in its wake. But are Wode comments wrong really? Because if he is wrong, then Julius Malema and his economic freedom fighters movement have been wrong all this while. If Wode is wrong, then Julius Malema is wrong for constantly drawing attention to apartheid's legacy of exclusion in land ownership, education, jobs, and what have you. Some of the critics kept saying there were blacks who were rich and lived in luxury homes. Yes, the story of a rising middle class in black South Africa is a well-told one, and Wode cannot say he is not aware of that. Wode cannot say he does not know there are very rich black South Africans out there who are living even larger than some of the whites. There was Richard Maponya, for example, whose demise in January 2020 received mention on this channel. This astute black South African businessman left behind a string of businesses, including that huge shopping mall. But is that the story of the masses of black South Africans? And does raising this issue mean that black people in other parts of the continent are better off than their South African counterparts? Certainly not. Actually, our history as black people throughout the world is more similar than we care to acknowledge, let alone use it as grounds for common action. We have a common history which has kept us disempowered economically, i.e. slavery and colonialism. The generational problem slavery has created for Africans in the diaspora is the same generational problem colonialism has created for Africans in Africa. So when a YouTuber like Wode expresses his disappointment at this state of affairs, why should any black person feel spited? Platforms like Wode should be an opportunity for black people to share ideas on how to make their situation better and not for hating on each other. Yes, the anger is there, Yes, there is the hangover of hurt from the past, as one writer calls it. But Africans need to learn not to misdirect the anger on themselves, because if we self-hate, we create two enemies for ourselves instead of one.
Apartheid economy is still continuing. Because when you went to the table, when business negotiated with the former liberation movement, you made certain things very clear. You were not prepared to surrender the land. You were not prepared to surrender the economy. You told them you can have a black president, but you are not going to do anything with our property ownership. When the liberation started in South Africa, it was not about voting. Voting was by the way. The formation of liberation movements followed the wars of dispossession. And Africans realized that if we fight as small groups, we get defeated. We need to come together and fight together under a progressive body. Fight for what? For reclaiming of our land. So you can't tell us we gave you 1994, that's enough. That's not what we formed the liberation for. We formed the liberation to reclaim our land, to reclaim our wealth.